Hey guys, what's up? As we all know, October is coming up in a couple of days, or not a couple of days, a couple of months, and I've decided that I'm going to give my Halloween ranking from from worst to best. At my number 10, I'm gonna go with Rob Zombie's H2. This movie right here was god awful. I know there's a large fan base for this and the other Halloween remake by Rob Zombie, but there's just so many problems that plague these movies. I mean, the dialogue sucked, the acting sucks, the cast, almost the entire cast of characters suck. The only likable characters in these movies are Danielle Harris, who plays Annie, and and Brad Dourif, who plays Sheriff Brackett. And Michael Myers is literally a giant in this movie for whatever reason. And to me, that is the worst Halloween movie. For my number 9, I'm going to go with Halloween Resurrection. This movie killed the original series. Believe it or not, there are people who for some reason like this movie, and I can't understand why. But the movie is just god awful. It completely cheapens and ruins the great series ending of Halloween H2O. And from there on, it's just trash. It fails miserably on pretty much every single level from there all the way to the end of the movie, and it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse, no matter what you do to stop it. And this one and the movie I just talked about are definitely unwatchable movies. And that is my number 9. For my number 8, I'm going to go with Rob Zombie's Halloween. Once again, another problem that plagues this one, that plagues his second remake, is terrible dialogue, terrible acting, only 2 likable characters, Annie Brackett and Sheriff Brackett. There's nothing really good about that movie at all. And as a matter of fact, the first 30 minutes of the movie are trash. Trying to explain Michael Myers' origins whenever he was a kid. And the second and third act of the movie, some people say it gets better, but to me it just gets more boring because it's a rush to redo a Carpenter's original film. Shot for shot. Anyway, that's my number 8. My number 7 is going to be Halloween H2O 20 years later. This movie is like a guilty pleasure Halloween movie. Some people hate it. I sometimes rewatch it. I don't watch it as much as I do the ones I'm going to be talking about next. Higher up on my list, like my top 5. But that is definitely a bad movie. It's got some major flaws with it, how it ignores parts 4, 5, and 6 and pretends they never happened. And there are some things to enjoy, like we got some great kills. I forgot to mention that with Halloween Resurrection. The good kills, the dialogue is better. We actually get Laurie Strode back. That's a huge plus. But everything else about the movie is just not that good. However, it's still a classic. I still watch it every once in a while. I can actually rewatch it and consider it watchable. Anyway, though, that is my number 7. Now, this is where it gets hard. I think I'm going to go with Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. This movie was a huge step back after the success of Part 4. And it was redeemed a little bit with Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. It got better then. But I used to hate that movie when I first watched it. I noticed all the flaws and problems with it. But to me, it's just like H2O. It's a guilty pleasure. I can be entertained by how bad it is. I consider it watchable. I can still be entertained and I do watch this movie even more often than I do H2O, believe it or not. And yeah, that is my number 5. That there's not my number 5. That is my number. There's my number 6. Yeah. I guess I'm gonna go with Halloween 3: Season of the Witch as my. I guess I'm gonna go with Halloween 3: Season of the Witch as my number 5. I know, it's controversial because it doesn't have Michael Myers in it. But after rewatching the rest of the series, I have to say it is one of the better entries. The problem with this movie, though, is that it's got a bizarre concept to it. It's got... the kills are weird and cheesy, but it's still a really good 80s movie. It was still pretty cool to watch as a horror film. I do not watch it with the Halloween movies that I do rewatch, but I do watch it every October. And to me, that is my number 5. I guess I'm gonna go with Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. This is a pretty good movie whenever you think about it because it's got some flaws with it. It's another guilty pleasure Halloween movie. I've noticed that a lot of people consider H2O one of the best of the franchise and that one of the worst, as well as Halloween 5. But in my opinion, it is likable, memorable, and well made, in my opinion. We got some great kills. This is by far the goriest of the classic Halloween movies. It came out back in the 90s. It was a redeeming version of Halloween 5. The only problem I can't really stand with this movie is just that it tries to explain Michael Myers' origins, and that was unnecessary. We didn't need to know all that. But it is a pretty good movie. Like I said, I can be entertained by how bad it is. I personally like it. And it is one of the more intimidating Halloween movies, in my personal opinion, because of the gore. For my number 3, I think I'm going to go with Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. I'm going to go with that one as my number 4 because, I'm just gonna go with that one there as my number 4, or as my number 3. My mistake. I'm gonna go with Halloween 4: The Return of Michael Myers as my number 3 because it is a good movie. A lot of people can agree with that. That's a pretty good explanation. A lot of people consider it a solid 10 out of 10, and I am one of them. But we do have better Halloween movies out there. I just can't praise Halloween 4 enough. And to me, that is my number 3. For my number 2, I gotta go with Halloween 2. That came out in 1981. That was a great movie. It was a perfect follow-up to the original. And, it's got good atmosphere. It's got a great horror tone. He's a bit slower, but more brutal at the same time in Halloween 2 than he is in the original. That movie, this Halloween 2 right here, I just absolutely love it. It's John Carpenter's a genius. I think it was John Carpenter that directed the first 3 Halloween movies. But he's a genius. I loved Halloween 2. Like I said, there are some better slasher films out there, though. And I wish that this was a movie that I had watched ever since I was in elementary school. Because this is a movie that I would go back and watch time and time and time again. Probably over and over and over and over again. And that is my number 2. At my number 1, were you really expecting anything else? The original Halloween. We all know that the original is better than anything out there, really. If the Texas Chainsaw Massacre kicked open that door to not the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. If Psycho kicked in the door to the slasher genre, Halloween tore that motherfucker clean off the hinges when it kicked it in. Halloween is by far the best slasher film that I can ever imagine. I think it's better than any Psychos, any of the Psychos, any of the Texas Chainsaw Massacres, any of the Nightmares, any of the Friday the 13th. It's better than anything. Anyway, though, that's my number 1. That's my ranking. I did this one first because Michael Myers is by far my favorite of all time. I will be getting to Jason, Freddy, Pinhead, Scream, Chucky. I'll be getting all of them later. Leatherface. But for now, see ya.